Fear, an emotion we all know too well, can often be the biggest barrier between us and our dreams. But what if I told you there's a way to conquer it? Yes, you heard it right. We're about to dive into the realm of fear, a powerful emotion that has the potential to either paralyze us or propel us forward, depending on how we choose to handle it. Fear, in its most primitive form, is a survival instinct. It alerts us to danger, preparing our bodies for the fight or flight response. But when fear creeps into aspects of our lives where it doesn't belong, it can become a roadblock, preventing us from reaching our full potential. Imagine a world where you are not held back by fear. A world where you can confidently embrace the unknown, take calculated risks, and step out of your comfort zone to chase after your dreams. This is the world that Tony Robbins, a world-renowned life coach, author, and speaker, wants us to see. Robbins's teachings are grounded in the belief that we have the power to shape our own destiny. He believes that by understanding and mastering our fears, we can transform them from barriers into stepping stones on our journey towards success. But who is Tony Robbins, you might ask? Robbins is a man who has dedicated his life to empowering others. Despite his humble beginnings, he rose to become one of the most influential figures in the self-help industry. His journey wasn't without fear, but he chose to view it as a challenge rather than a setback. He understood the power fear held over him and chose to harness it rather than let it control him. His personal experiences with fear and his subsequent triumph over it form the foundation of his teachings today. So as we embark on this journey to understand and overcome fear, keep in mind that the road may not be easy, but the destination is worth it. As Robbins himself often says, the only impossible journey is the one you never begin. So, are you ready to take the first step towards a fearless life? To understand how to conquer fear, we first need to understand the man who teaches it, Tony Robbins. Born as Anthony J. Mahaverick, Tony had a challenging upbringing. His early life was marked by poverty, domestic violence, and a mother battling addiction. But it was these very struggles that became the bedrock of his desire to help others overcome adversity. Tony's journey is a testament to the power of resilience and determination. After leaving home at 17, he worked as a janitor before discovering the world of personal development. He studied the human psyche, mastered the art of neuro-linguistic programming, and eventually became an acclaimed life coach, motivational speaker, and author. With his energetic charisma, he has transformed millions of lives through his books, seminars, and audio programs. His credibility and expertise in the field of self-help and personal development are unquestionable. Now, with a better understanding of who Tony Robbins is, we can delve into his teachings on overcoming fear. According to Robbins, fear isn't just an emotion. It's a complex reaction, a product of our thoughts and our environment. Imagine this: fear as a crafty jigsaw puzzle with pieces of thought, environment, and emotion. Each piece is distinct, but they all interlock to form the daunting image of fear that we perceive. Tony Robbins, a renowned life coach and motivational speaker, sees fear as more than just a primal response to danger. He believes it to be a direct result of our negative thoughts. Think about that for a moment. Have you ever noticed how fear often stems from the worst-case scenarios that we create in our minds? Let's say you're afraid of public speaking. It's not the act of speaking in public that scares you. No, it's the thoughts of being judged, of stumbling over your words, of embarrassing yourself. These are the negative thoughts that fuel your fear. But here's the good news. If our thoughts can fuel fear, they can just as well starve it. By changing our thought patterns, we can begin to overcome fear. Robbins suggests that we shift our focus from what could go wrong to what could go right. Instead of imagining the worst-case scenario, envision the best possible outcome. Imagine the applause, the admiration, the sense of accomplishment. It's also important to remember that our environment plays a significant role in our perception of fear. The people we surround ourselves with, the media we consume, the situations we find ourselves in, all these can either amplify our fears or help us overcome them. Surrounding ourselves with positive influences and seeking environments that foster growth rather than fear can be a powerful tool in our fight against fear. But understanding fear is just the beginning. The real challenge lies in overcoming it. And that's where the magic happens. That's where you'll find empowerment and miracles. But we'll delve into that in the next scene. For now, let's appreciate the complexity of fear and the power we hold over it. After all, fear is a puzzle, and we hold the pieces. Robbins has a unique approach to conquering fear. He believes in empowerment and miracles. But what does this really mean? How does one turn fear on its head and use it as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block? Let's dive into Robbins's philosophy. Robbins sees fear as an opportunity for growth, a challenge to overcome rather than a deterrent. He believes that empowerment is the key to overcoming fear. Empowerment here isn't just about gaining control over our circumstances. It's about gaining control over our thoughts and emotions, our reactions and responses. Robbins suggests that we have more power than we think, and we can use this power to change our mindset and our relationship with fear. How do we achieve this empowerment? Robbins suggests a few strategies. First, we need to acknowledge our fears. Pretending they don't exist or avoiding them won't make them go away. We need to face them head on, understand them, and accept them as part of our human experience. Second, Robbins encourages us to challenge our fears. Why are we afraid? What's the worst that could happen? Is it as bad as we think? Or are we blowing things out of proportion? Often, we'll find that our fears are not as terrifying as they seem. Third, we need to replace our fears with empowering thoughts. Instead of thinking, "I'm scared of failure," we should think, "I'm excited to learn and grow." It's a subtle shift, but it can make a world of difference. Lastly, Robbins believes in miracles. Not in the supernatural sense, but in the sense of personal breakthroughs that come from consistent effort and positive thinking. When we persist, when we keep pushing despite our fears, we often experience moments of sudden clarity, breakthroughs that propel us forward and help us overcome our fears. So, how can we apply these teachings in our lives? Let's explore. Applying Robbins' teachings might seem daunting, but with the right mindset and attitude, it's more than possible. The first and perhaps most practical technique is positive affirmation. This is the act of reinforcing positive thoughts and beliefs about yourself. It might feel a bit awkward at first, talking to yourself in the mirror, repeating phrases like, "I am capable" or "I am fearless," but stick with it. The more you say it, the more you'll believe it. This isn't just wishful thinking. Research has shown that positive affirmations can help reduce stress and improve problem-solving skills. Next, we have visualization. Imagine yourself standing in front of that audience, giving that presentation, asking that person on a date, or whatever it is that scares you. Play the scene over and over in your mind. Picture yourself succeeding, smiling, feeling good. Make the image as vivid and detailed as possible. This technique helps your brain get familiar with the situation and reduces the fear associated with it. The third tool in your arsenal is consistent action. Fear often paralyzes us, making us feel stuck. But action, even small actions, can break that paralysis. Start small. If speaking in public terrifies you, start by speaking in front of a few friends. Gradually increase the number of people. Do it over and over until it becomes second nature. Lastly, don't forget to celebrate your victories, no matter how small. Every time you face your fear, you're growing stronger. Recognize that and give yourself a pat on the back. These techniques may not eliminate fear overnight, but they will help you manage it and eventually overcome it. Remember, fear is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you're pushing your boundaries, that you're stepping outside your comfort zone. Remember, the journey to a fearless life begins with a single step. With Robbins' teachings, you have the tools to take that step, so what are you waiting for?